Okay. Thanks, Heidi. Have a good one.
Bye, Heidi. Thank you.
Do you want to just pop on and start rolling? Do you want to?
Sure.
Okay.
Hi, everyone. All right. This is my first time being on a call with you guys. I'm super excited. So thanks for having me on and for letting me chat with you guys about some marketing. I have recently delved into some marketing coaching specific to my business, and this can definitely be translated into any content that you're trying to put forth as you relate to your ideal client and audience. Let me try to share my screen. I don't know if that's enabled, but nope, you have to do it. Okay, I'm going to pull this up, hopefully. Where is it? Okay. I'm going to share this. Can you guys see this and everything? Yes? Okay. Alrighty. So when we talk about offer positioning and we talk about copywriting on Instagram, so that means not only our posts that we're doing or our reel, we also want to talk about in our copywriting how we're going to relate to our client. So this format that I have for you guys, and we're going to work through a couple examples together on this. But this example will provide like endless content on, let's say if we attack fatigue or hormones or whatever it is you're trying to show the transformation for people. Once you do the work on this worksheet, you can adapt and rewrite, because I want you guys to remember that what hits for one person isn't going to hit for everybody, right? That one post may be the thing that transforms this person and converts them into a client for 5 people, but it might not have been the thing that related to me. You know, maybe the post the next day is the one that is really going to draw me in. So remember that we can talk about fatigue a ton of different ways because it doesn't manifest the same or relate to everybody in the same way. So when we're doing this, it's kind of an exhaustive process just so that you have it and can adapt it and use it over and over again in different ways. So Michelle, which topics did we decide we wanted to, what do you want to start with?
Oh, goodness gracious. We had 3 in mind. I don't remember what they were.
I know. Do you want to start with fatigue?
I think that's a really good one.
Okay. Okay. So we're just going to
talk home for everyone.
Yeah, let's talk through this. So the first question that you ask yourself is, what is what is his or her biggest problem the way he or she sees it? This was all she because my clients are all women, but I'm just going to say, I'm going to ask you guys to throw it in the chat. Like that will probably be the easiest way. So what is it that they see when we're talking about fatigue? What is their biggest problem the way they're viewing it? So they're tired all the time. You guys can add in. I don't know if I can see the chat while will it pop up? Yeah, it should. Okay. They're tired all the time. How about they can't achieve their goals? Well, we could go back to this. Activities of daily living. Just shout out stuff, guys. They can't show up the way they want to. I'll just give you about 3 for each one.
I'll read the chat. How about that, Rachel?
Oh yeah,
there's lots of ideas in there. Okay.
Yep, thanks.
So, need a nap.
Yep.
Can't eat without feeling sick.
Like when
Sorry, my kids just got out of the bath.
No worries.
Sleep hours and hours, yet still tired when waking. Snappy or irritable, I guess you could say. Falling into depression due to lack of self-motivation. And needing energy drinks.
Lack of self-motivation, irritable. That's a big one, irritable. And then needing energy drinks. Okay. What is his or her biggest problem the way you see it? So see, we're the expert. So translate that. What are we seeing? Fatigue. When we look at somebody and they're telling us their problem is fatigue, what are you seeing when you when you are the expert in this. So Elise, you can keep reading stuff out, or
Yeah, I can.
okay, so I would say imbalances in the body.
Yeah, digestion's usually off too.
Yep, digestion. Possibly nervous system. That could go back to imbalances, but we would nervous system, maybe not getting REM sleep. Anything else?
Hormones. Yeah, the hormones can be
Hormones.
for men and women, right? Like
Yes.
low testosterone or for
Yes.
men. And
I'm just trying to think.
so you guys, just so you know, Rachel also is an RN. And so she has, and also has holistic training. So she has a lot of background on the health piece.
Stuck in flight or flights, high cortisol. Okay, that's probably enough for this one, and then we can keep going. So what is his or her greatest desire when they're looking at fatigue? What do they want? They want to feel better, right? Feel better. They want to have energy.
They want to be able to keep up with their kids.
Yeah. Keep up with their kids. I know for me, I'll speak personally, I wanted to have my intentions and motives that were on the inside actually be matched on the outside. So I wanted authenticity.
Yeah. Michelle said, get shit done.
Yeah.
Like, get your list done.
Motivation matched with energy to fulfill.
Sorry, not as many ideas being dropped in the chat for solutions.
That's okay. That's okay. I think too, oh, I had something. They want to like pull themselves. I know when you have low energy, there's like a lot that goes undone, and we talked about getting it done, but it's also like snowballing success also has a like gets confidence going. It
yes, low confidence because of that. It's like
right.
Self-doubt, self-sabotage starts to creep in, all
Right.
of that.
Increased confidence. Okay, we'll stop there.
I'm thinking
what
mental
is-
health in that one too, like depression.
Yeah, as the darker days start to set in here in the Pacific Northwest. It was a gray and rainy. There was no sun today.
I have lots of sun I shall share.
Yes.
What is your greatest desire for him or her, since you have the 10-foot view? Okay, so expand it. What do we want for them? That we just talked about what they want. What do we want? We want, I mean, for me as a nurse, I'm looking at, I want systems in balance. What else? As the expert, do you want as far as fatigue?
Optimal vitamin D levels.
I want core issues resolved, which kind of goes back to systems and balance. But I want core issues resolved because I want sustained results for them. I don't want a quick fix.
Right.
What else?
I'm just thinking for myself also, like I had
Yeah.
extreme fatigue when my ferritin levels were like in the tank, like, and I think a lot of people just don't check blood work. It's like there's things going on, you know?
Yeah. Okay. All right. The next one is what transformation are you going to create for somebody with fatigue? So point A is the problem to point B. So they're going to go from feeling tired all the time, not being able to function. Oh, what about even their work performance might be suffering?
Or they're sick all the time.
Yeah. Work performance, home life performance is low. Sick. Okay, so also when you're fatigued, you're not working out. So movement, decreased movement. And you guys can go back up and add some of these into the other categories as well. This is just meant to be an example to kind of show you. So decreased movement, inability to work out. How about
That's really good. Valerie said, she said, when you feel down, when you're tired, it's like you don't make time for friends. Like your social
Oh,
life
yeah.
diminishes.
Social life diminishing? Inability to work out, probably not. If you're fatigued, you're not going to lose weight if that's an issue.
Eating poor foods.
Yeah. Eating poor diet. And then we talked about being irritable too. I know that shows up as like mean mommy. Because when I'm tired, I'm like, I have no room in the road. I cannot help you. I'm sorry. My cup is empty.
Yeah.
Okay, but the transformation that they're going to see, so we just invert all of that. So instead they have sustained energy. They are optimally functioning and thriving. Increased to high performance personally and professionally.
Oh, you're going to school tomorrow?
Yeah.
Did you go brush your teeth?
Increased immunity. Increased movement we know to be life. Ability to work out, lose weight.
Yeah, you can.
Lose weight. Oh, I went too high. Let's see. Like that you want to go out with friends, so time and energy to invest in friends and family, like fostering relationships. Ability, oh, we already talked about ability to lose weight. Positive food choices.
Or it could be ability to gain weight also.
Yeah, it could be.
Weight management total.
Yes. Lose weight, gain weight. That's my problem. Oh, and then just mood stability. Okay, so the transformation really is putting all of this together, so I'm not going to take the time to do that part. Who were you before the evolution? So this is talking about you. This is how you're going to relate to your client. So this is personal. I'm just going to type personal. Your personal story with fatigue. How did that manifest in your life? Manifest in your life. And what are you offering your client as relatable currency? So you guys can fill that part in, because everybody's going to have a unique story, which is why we connect with different people. Different people would connect with Michelle versus me, and that's okay. That's why we're all here. What kind of things were you struggling with? Again, that's self-explanatory. What transformation did you desire? So all of this is talking about you and your experience. What kind of things did you think about? What kept you from getting what you wanted? So what barriers? We could fill some of those out just to brainstorm. For me, I felt like I had already tried everything. Like I had already tried everything. Already invested too much money in things that weren't helping. Anybody else? Elise.
It could just be finances, like they're
Yeah.
concerned about their own finances.
And I think when you're
Sorry. I'm
No, you're
trying to
good.
get my boys in the bed, but I'm listening.
Okay, you're good. You're good. When you're fatigued, I think too, there's just that snowball effect of like, why try? Why try? Nothing's gonna help. Again, that's that self-sabotaging. So self-sabotaging. Okay, what were you investing in and why? So this could be people investing in, let's say, energy drinks. Quick fixes. I don't know. What else would people be investing in for fatigue? I went down pathways of like extreme pathways with naturopaths and all kinds of things and did Dutch hormone testing. And I mean, for me, the barrier really was that I felt like I had already tried all these things and there was nothing that was giving me what I was wanting. So I was kind of skeptical. I guess we could add that in too. We could add that in up here, skepticism. What were you trying that wasn't working? So that's kind of, again, what you were investing in. What made you searchable? So this is searchable in the sense of like, if you were Googling your symptoms or how you felt to find an answer, what would you be doing? I'll write that out just in case you need keyed up later. You were searching, Googling answers to find the root of what was going on. What phrases or words would you be using? Or what questions would you be asking? If you were ChatGPTing this, what would you do? Questions would you be asking? That's just going to help you relate to your client and get those words down, because when you put it into copywriting, it will really help you relate to that person. Okay, what is the ripple effect? This is huge, you guys. What is the domino effect of having fatigue? So we've talked a little bit about this in that when you're fatigued, you can't do XYZ, or it makes XYZ worse. So we've kind of lined out what has already happened as a result of being fatigued, but when you're fatigued, what gets worse for you? That's something I think we could explore. What gets worse as a result of fatigue?
Well, mindset's hugely affected when I'm fatigued.
Yep, mindset.
And then as an entrepreneur, that affects my bottom line.
Yep. Bottom line, parenting, roles and responsibilities.
Fitness performance.
What'd you say? Fitness performance?
Yeah.
Yeah. Fitness performance. So what else? What other health issues, as a result of being fatigued? Let's think like physically. We've kind of talked emotionally a little bit, mentally a little bit, and then like went into our roles and responsibilities and things. But what about other physical problems as a result of being fatigued? Weight. So we've talked about weight, gain or loss. It also, we talked about the motivation. Like when you're fatigued, the lack of motivation permeates everything. Anybody else want to add anything else? Okay, what do they desire to create in that area? So we want to relate back to our client. What is it that they want to create to change this problem that they have? This could be very specific. We could go right back up here to any of these and expand on any of these. So I'm just going to say refer to 14. That way we don't take up too much time. Refer to 14 answers and expand. That's really what you're doing. So you would take one of those and attack weight gain or weight loss, or attack lack of motivation, and see how you can create endless content. Because if you mixed and match any of this, we could talk about fatigue in so many different ways. Okay, this is where you come in. What are you a master at? Why are you the one to teach this thing? And how do you embody it? How are you the one that's the expert that's going to fix it? Like what, again, we're going to get down to here, like what's the magic? But what is it that I'll ask you, Michelle, this is a great one for you to field. What are you a master at? And then why are you the one to teach me about how fatigue, how I can transform my fatigue.
I'm a functional gut health coach.
Yep.
Lived experience.
Functional gut health coach.
I talk about like the number of years that I've worked
Mm-hmm.
in it.
Years you have worked in it and
Through it.
had sustained results. Okay, why are you the one to teach this thing? What gives you credibility in this space?
Number of transformations you've helped with.
Mm-hmm. Yep. That's good. For somebody that doesn't have that and is just starting out, what would they rely on? Or they don't have any of this. They just have the lived experience. Let's do that, because a lot of people don't have the things that you have. What would somebody that's just starting out rely on?
Other people's experiences and knowledge. So like coming to me,
Yep.
for instance.
Yep. So you could relate to the team you have around you, you guys.
Mhm.
That's huge. The knowledge, you could go this route because you can research anything and reference things like Cleveland Clinic or Mayo Clinic or doctors that are in this space that you could find their research articles. So knowledge is a huge one. When you don't have years of experience, you can pivot into that realm. What transformation do you feel you can effortlessly facilitate? So this is a win, quick win. We don't want something that's going to be like, so I need you to do this thing, but 4 months from now is when you're going to get some relief from this. So Michelle, what transformation do you feel in the fatigue realm that you could effortlessly facilitate quickly?
I'm just thinking of switching out like their energy drinks.
Mhm.
Like, that's one of my first go-tos.
Yeah.
And like coffee and that kind of stuff too.
Yep. Routine. You
Mhm.
talk a lot about switching out hydrate and not drinking caffeine until a certain period in the morning. So
Yep.
a routine change that will impact cortisol. That's an insta change that they can have. Stabilizing blood sugar is a pretty insta change, because blood sugar impacts tiredness. If your blood sugar is all over the place all the time, you have crashes. So we stabilize blood sugar, you stabilize energy stores, really, stores and uses. I'm trying to think back to like when I first started taking the products, because I had a lot of immediate changes. I feel like mood stability was fairly quickly. Do you think that's fairly quick for most people, Michelle?
Yes, I would say so. Cravings would be another one.
Mm-hmm.
Part of me
Because
is also thinking like pain.
yeah,
Chronic pain is exhausting.
yes, that's a huge one. Okay, we didn't think of that one earlier. Chronic pain,
Reduction.
reduction reduces fatigue, yeah, and exhaustion mentally, emotionally, physically, and even spiritually.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. What is your magic and why do you have a unique take or process with? And I mean, I'll field this one quickly. At least the first one is, this is a systemic approach. This is the 3 core issues that set you up for disease or wellness, being blood sugar regulation, gut health balance, and inflammation reduction. So we have a master system approach.
It's also simple.
Yes, simple. So it's sustainable. It's doable. It invites people to want to partner with it.
Yes.
It's easier to buy in because of these reasons. It's also the money back guarantee. That's huge. So we're talking about low risk for people, right?
Yes. No risk.
Yeah, it is no risk. That's true. No risk. All they have to do is try. What else, Michelle? They're the leading in the industry.
Yeah.
Very, all of this. Okay, I love the fact that this is well sourced, non-GMO, organic. Like, it takes the worry out of like, if you have somebody who's the investigator who's like, I need to know every little thing about this, we already addressed that. Like, it's automatically taken care of, and I'm not worried that there's any chemicals or artificial, anything in this. And so for people that come into you from that standpoint, you can pitch this as part of it. Anything else you're thinking of, Michelle?
I feel like it all like a lot of it is like the systemic approach, I think.
Yeah. Okay. So when we take this into our copywriting, we want to start with talking about their biggest problem, right? Because that's why they're coming to you. They're not coming to you for the way you see their problem, but we're going to build upon this and use how they see it, how we see it, what's their desire. And you can create simple posts and endless posts, really, if you take any of these different, let's take, we could talk about how fatigue affects your sleep, and then you do that for one post. How fatigue represents nervous system imbalances. You could do this for that. Does that make sense to everybody? And is this helpful? Yes, hopefully.
Yeah.
It's very helpful.
Okay, awesome. Do you want to do another one, Michelle, or do you think that everybody understands kind of how to take and run with this? And you can email this to the group, or we can put this in, I can email it to you, Michelle, and then you can send it out to everybody.
Yeah, email it to me. Do you guys want to do one more? Valerie says yes. I don't know if she's saying yes to doing another one.
I'm always up for doing more.
One more.
Okay.
Like, what if we talk about gut health?
Yeah, let's do it.
And 70% of people, 74% of people are going to the doctor because they have digestion discomfort.
Okay. So, gut health. Okay, so what's their biggest problem the way they see it?
They're bloated.
Yep.
Crampy, indigestion, heartburn, constipated, loose bowel movements.
So IBS, essentially.
IBS, kind of. I hate that term because it's really not a diagnosis, but yes.
I know, but it's just, that's where my brain goes. I'm like, that's the easiest way to describe it. So constipation, versus loose stools.
Yeah.
Okay. Skin issues is another big thing. Pain.
Incontinence.
Okay. You think that's enough?
Yeah.
Okay. What is
gain.
his or her weight gain?
Yeah. Or loss.
What is his or her biggest problem the way you see it?
Gut imbalances.
Yeah. So we have overgrowth of the wrong things and not enough production of the good things. We could have leaky gut, where essentially we have the wrong things in the wrong places. That's the easiest way to describe that. We
Candida,
can, yep, Candida.
SIBO, it'd be Crohn's and colitis, autoimmune. There's so
Auto-
many different like
Yes,
diverticulosis.
Yes.
C. diff.
yeah. Even like, okay, gut-brain connection,
Yeah.
that's endless. Gut immune connection, which we kind of talked about it with autoimmune, but you could also just be extremely sickly.
Autoimmune would fall under this too.
Yeah, it would. Okay, but the way we're seeing it is a little bit higher level. I'm just trying to think further. Okay, what is their greatest desire? Oh, why didn't we talk about brain fog? We need brain fog up here. And lack of clarity, memory issues. Okay, so what is their greatest desire? I would say they want to feel better overall.
Yeah.
They
Being
want
to
to,
eat with not feeling like crap.
yes. So appetite is one thing, but also feeling satisfied and content with eating. Resolve cravings. Lose weight, gain weight. We should put gain weight.
Not be in pain.
Yep. Pain free. So relief, that's another way to say it. They want relief.
Sugar crashes.
Yep.
I'm just gonna do this some more.
Energy. Should have put fatigue up here because that is a symptom. Okay. What is our greatest desire for them?
Balance their digestive system.
Yeah.
Detox.
Yeah, that's a big one. Digestion system detox. Safely.
Mm-hmm.
We'll put that down. Safely and supported. I am only
Yes.
saying this because I am like a major detoxer. So,
You
safe-
and your sauna every day.
girl, yes. I haven't been in there today yet. It's not a good day yet. Detox safely and supported, balance their digestive system, master hormone balances. We didn't talk about that. So reproductive health really needs to go back up here because that is absolutely impacted. Reproductive imbalances. So hormone, how about like hormones?
Regulation.
Yeah, regulation, and then just functioning properly. Like you're not too low, you're not too high, and then they're actually doing their job. So this could look like a return of cycles for women who haven't had cycles, or a cycle that's regulated, that's been all over the place. It could be a resolution of PMS symptoms that are severe and debilitating for people. Okay. Because we want to think higher. We want to think like back to core issues resolved.
Yeah.
Because people need to understand that, if they've never been introduced to this concept where it's like, we're not chasing symptoms, we're after the core issues. And why are we after core issues? Because it creates sustained results. Okay, we could keep going, but we'll stop for there. Okay, so what transformation do you want to create? So from problem, so we want to go from fatigued, what did we talk about? Eating, bloating, weight issues,
Okay.
brain fog,
I
pain.
believe I did because I did to the year.
to sustained energy, ability to lose or gain weight, mental clarity, pain resolution, and return to activities that represent thriving. Reproductive, balancing. So you can expand on reproductive and go a lot of different directions. Obviously, if you want to go into men's health, like that's a whole other thing, but you could talk about testosterone, and there's a whole lot of research about how all of these men's spas are like pushing all this testosterone replacement. I mean, and they push it for females too, but like there's reasons that you're depleted and you shouldn't be depleted. That's like a fallacy that we're preaching to people, but I will not go down that
And your
rabbit.
hormones are the last thing that your body
Yes.
fixes.
Yes.
Focus here.
Yes. And it's the first thing that will be sacrificed, you guys, when you're in high stress, because the
Yep.
body's like, no, thank you. You cannot reproduce right now if you cannot manage self. So if we cannot sustain your life, I'm not going to say you should sustain other life. And so it's one of the first things that the body sacrifices. Okay. So the transformation, obviously we combine those two. Who were you before the evolution? Again, this is your personal story with gut health. So maybe you want to talk about weight loss, or you want to dive into brain fog. I just did a whole post on brain fog, memory issues, and how it relates to all of this. And you literally can just isolate these things down. What kinds of things were you struggling with? What transformation did you desire? What kinds of things did you think about? And what kept you from getting what you wanted? For me, I was already taking refrigerated, really expensive probiotics, and so I didn't think that there was anything better. I'll put it this way. I believed I already had the best product. So what was Plexus going to offer me if I had went and purchased a really expensive professional grade refrigerated probiotic? What was this going to do for me? So doubt
This one is this one here.
that there was anything better. Again, trying so many things and not having it work. So that's futility. Trying so many things without results. So that's futility. Michelle, what about you? What kept you from getting what you wanted? Doctors telling you that it was in your head. So there was all that like kind of gaslighting from a medical standpoint.
I was hopeless.
Hopeless, yes. Tired.
I was doing all the things.
Yeah.
And I just kept getting sicker.
And yeah. no traction, no successes, doctors invalidating your lived experience. Okay, what were you investing in, Michelle?
Hope.
No, like before the transformation.
Oh, supplements. Like the whole lifestyle. As far as my money was, I don't know, I wasn't really investing in like healthy food.
Okay.
Yeah.
And supplements, this one's a really good one, you guys, because there's a lot of people like me, and I will sacrifice my lived experience for the benefit of the group and be super vulnerable. But I'm a person who reads a lot I read books, I read articles, and then I'm like, oh, I need to go buy this supplement because that must be what I'm deficient in. And so I was doing a whole bunch of like self-diagnosing and self-fixing, and fragmenting my regimen, we'll say it that way. Like I would get one thing from one thing because I would like get sold on it from an ad, or I would get like sold on it from an article that I read, or I heard somebody else be like, this was the thing. And so I would go adding this to my regimen. And even Elise, when she was talking to me about this, I was like, Elise, I cannot add another thing to what I'm doing right now because I don't even know what's helping me at this point. So like I was creating an environment where I couldn't even decide what was helping me. And so I told her, I was like, I'm going to finish what I have from my naturopath, and then let me see what I feel like helped or didn't help, and then we'll circle back. And so it took me like another 2 months to get back with her. And I was like, okay, I'm ready. Like, I'm ready to try this. Like, I'm not going to take any of my other stuff and mix it in. I'm going to refuse to do that. And I'm going to stick to this. So when you think about supplements, there are a lot of people that do that with.
And you were taking like what you shared, like 40 supplements. Like that's not simple or sustainable.
That was at the beginning of my divorce. Yes, I
Oh,
was
okay.
taking, yeah, I that was all through a functional nutritionist, you guys. So
Yeah.
she recommended all these things, and I was so desperate that I was like, I
Right.
know she said it was going to help. So, and
Yeah.
it was so bad. And my parents showed up to help me, and they were like, what are you even doing right now? Like, this is insane. And I was like, it's not insane. It's my lifeline. Like, it's the only thing I have right now. And so people get
Yeah.
fixated on that, especially if somebody in a position of authority
Right.
tells them that this is going to help, and you're desperate for something to change, you will do anything. And
Yeah.
so I think for clients, like we'll just explore this for a second. For clients that are already down a path with like a naturopath or somebody like a holistic person, like a functional nutritionist or a functional doctor, it can be very challenging for them to buy in because, again, this naturopath or this person has created a custom regimen for them. And I see this all of the time because I experienced it too, is that they'll be like, we need to isolate adrenals, we need to isolate thyroid, we need to do all of this stuff. But what happens when you quit bolstering that organ, then nothing really happened, right?
It's out of whack. Yeah.
Yeah, we just supplemented the thyroid. We didn't talk to the thyroid and say, you need to resolve at a master level. And so when I stopped taking all of the things, and by the way, like I had varying results from all of my supplements, and they were probably canceling each other out at some point too, because it was way too many. And also when your gut isn't addressed, you're paying for expensive pee, you guys, because your body doesn't even absorb it correctly, and you're just literally peeing this stuff out. So back to when I'm talking about what naturopaths sometimes get into a habit of doing in their approach, is that they isolate these things out, and they're like, now rub progesterone cream on yourself and do all of these things. Well, why are we not resolving why you're not making progesterone, right? I don't want to just supplement progesterone. I want to resolve why we're not doing the right balances of things. And so that's really what Plexus does, is it addresses core issues. So That's just side note. We got way off on a tangent. I'm sorry. I'm just over here educating. What were you trying that wasn't working? So we kind of talked about that with this, like all of these things I was investing in, and Michelle was, this is what you were doing that wasn't working. What made that searchable? So just go back to what you would do if you were like, oh my gosh, this is what I was Googling. This is how I was feeling. What was I telling my naturopath? Why was, what were my messages to them? And then what is the ripple effect of this thing? So there's a lot. The ripple effect, I'm just gonna immune health. So, okay, well, we'll go it from a different angle. Sick, vulnerable to illness. And when I did get sick, I stayed sick longer. So, stayed sick longer. And you guys, that costs people money. And when you're a mom, and Elise and I know this, I don't know if there's any other single moms, but like, I don't have this luxury, right? Like, I need to be optimal as much as possible because people will depend on me, and I don't have somebody to take over for me. And I can't just punch out and say I'm sick today. And it also affects our work performance, because if we're sick and we can't work, that's super detrimental for our particular dynamic that we have going on. So then, we also have, out of work. And this goes for kids too. Like, you guys could translate this into, if you're trying to pitch kiddo products, you could talk about kids being out of school, which means you're out of work. So there's a lot of different angles that you could go down as well. Okay, so we talked about, this is like addressing kind of immune system. Ripple effect. Help me, it's Monday night. Elise, what else?
I'm fading fast too.
I know. I'm like,
I
oh,
think my brain's done. I understand. And yeah.
yeah. Michelle, go.
I'm just thinking about all the digestion pieces of it where
Yeah.
you,
Absorption,
yeah.
nutrient deficiencies. I can't even talk at this point. Deficiencies.
Skin
Okay.
issues,
What'd you say?
skin.
Oh, yeah, skin issues. You could even talk about hair loss.
Oh yeah.
Ripple effects. We talked about the fatigue. That's a big part of it. We talked about the brain fog. We talked about how that affects your performance. Roles and responsibilities. So this is big for us as far as being single moms. I can't show up and be the person I want to be. Can't be authentic to your motives, desires. That's probably enough, and then we can keep going. This is where you come in. What are you a master at? And so we talked, this kind of applies all the time. And then what do you feel you can effortlessly facilitate? And I'll defer to Michelle on this.
Like regular bowel movements.
Yes. That's a huge one. Yes.
Reduction in like acid reflux, heartburn situation.
Yep.
Less bloating.
Relief in like inflammatory symptoms.
Yep. Cravings, healthy cravings.
Healthy cravings. Yep.
Clear skin.
Yes.
Sustained energy.
Yep. Sustained energy. Better sleep.
Yep. As we're all like, ah.
Yeah, tired. I can't do anymore. Okay, better sleep.
Mood.
Yes. We were on the same path. Mood, stability. Yep, that's a good start. Okay, and then the magic is the same, you guys, because that's pretty simple and goes across the board. And then just remind them that this is a whole approach, you know. And then I will just say this, I love that Michelle talks to people in her text messages about like, this isn't just about taking the supplements. We also have to make changes in other areas, but this helps you to snowball that. And so you can be empowered to start making healthier choices and diet. And when she talks to people in her text threads about, well, what are your goals? Like, I know when I started with her, I was like, well, I want to see muscle like gain and definition in my muscles because I'm working out, but I'm not getting results. And she's like, okay, also we have to make sure that we're doing XYZ to achieve that. That's not just going to be a plexus fix because you drank the drinks today. So what are we going to do? So I do think it goes beyond that. But I mean, this is a great way to get people started down the path and snowball successes. Michelle, do you have anything else to add?
I'm good. I think it's awesome.
Doke. Does anybody else have questions? That maybe
Tiff,
I can...
Adrian, I think, are you guys catching on of how you can use this to make content, make reels, make posts, all of that? Like, you want to talk, you're specifically looking at these things that people are dealing with, putting yourself in their shoes and talking about how they feel, like the feelings. People buy
Yes.
feeling for an experience. We're delivering an experience. So
and one of the biggest things that when I was looking at my other content is I love to be super action oriented with people. And my coach kept telling me empathy, that relatability has to be there because otherwise people feel like you're just telling them what to do. And so that piece of it, so really getting into the problem and agitating that problem for them so that they're like, she totally gets how I feel. Oh my gosh, she's reading my mail right now. It has to have that element of it and draw them into that personal connection with you, that you truly do see them and you understand the complexities of what they're dealing with. There's automatic trust value there, and you develop this kind of like social capital with people because you're seen as credible by doing these things and by gaining that intimacy with people. That way it's not cold, it's not it's not researchy too much because then it's coming across like you're just educating me, but like why do I need to be educated? Why should I value the information you're providing? So that's a huge piece of it. Thanks for bringing that up, Michelle.
Yeah.
Yep. Is there anything else you want me to touch on, Michelle?
I think this was awesome.
Yeah.
This was so good.
It was all great. Yeah. It was awesome information.
Thanks. Well, even for a Monday night.
You guys have been sticking with me for 2 hours. I love it. Way to go, Tiff and Adrian.
Yes.
This was so good. I'll send you my email if that's easiest.
Yeah, just put it in our Facebook thread and then I'll get it right over to you guys.
My one hang up is, I mean, I've got a couple of different hang ups, but right now is like, there are so many good things happening. It's helping my husband's eczema. It's helping a little boy's ADHD. And then I just recently started the skincare line. I feel like if I put too much out there, I'm going to overwhelm people and they're going to think, oh, it's like too good to be true or she's lying or something.
Well, part of it is you're not always talking about plexus with this. Sometimes I'm just telling, like, I just talk about my story. I'm not dropping how I did it. I'm just like, you know, like when you got that paycheck, it was like, oh my gosh, I can pay for this bill that we have. This is amazing.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's not, you're not saying like, who wants to join my team? You're just saying like, I'm so thankful that I don't have to worry about this bill anymore.
Okay.
So you can just be, you know, just sharing little things of like, oh my gosh, my skin has never been so bright and clear. I'm so thankful.
Okay.
And, you know, you don't necessarily have to be like plexus dropping with all the things. I just make it into my life, you know? It's like, you know, just sitting here drinking my Slim, you can't tell it, well, it's just water
Mhm.
right now, but
Yeah.
people see that there's this pink drink while I'm doing something,
Mhm.
telling them about something.
Okay.
The other thing is you could try to focus on a specific piece of content for a sustained period of time so that you're not
Okay.
all over the place.
Mhm.
Because that does get really like, well, how is it doing all of these things? We don't want it
Yeah.
to decrease our credibility. But
Exactly.
if you want to talk about your transformation and what you saw, take your top 3 transformations and then use that to drive most of your content, and stay away from other things that maybe you just don't have a personal feel for at the moment.
Okay.
Because your story is the most powerful way
Mhm.
to peddle any of the connections you're wanting with people.
Mhm. Okay.
Sometimes what I'll do is I'll spend a week on one subject. I'll pick one thing, and that whole week is various different ways to talk about it.
Yep.
Okay.
And sometimes
That's
it's
what I was
literally
thinking.
just dropping like research information on it. Nothing to do with Plexus, but just
Mhm.
talk about like, this is what Candida is, and
Yeah.
this is why you
Okay.
need to get rid of it. Not that I
Okay.
have a probiotic for it or anything,
Yeah.
just like,
Right.
Okay. That makes
and you
sense.
can make it an interactive post of like, did anyone know that this thing decomposes your body when you die? Look at what it can do when if there's too much of it while you're alive.
Yep.
So
And
that's
just valuing the relationship that you have with people and knowing them personally, especially if you're reaching out into just your personal circle. Okay, well, this mom has a child with the ADHD kid, so I'm gonna go asking Michelle for videos on it. I'm gonna go see what content she already has, and then
Okay.
send it to this person or relate to them, or just start asking questions too and being curious about, hey, have you ever, encountered, these things with your child? Are you looking for solutions right now? There's a powerful testimony about it right now, that I would love to share with you, because this literally was so powerful for this kid that the teacher noticed it and the teacher started selling it to all the parents and all of those things. So there's lots of ways that you can connect people to the products and not feel like you're selling or like that cringy feel of like, oh, I'm like a used car salesman.
Yes, exactly. Okay.
Yeah. Yep.
All
Anything
right.
else from anybody?
I think we're good.
Okay.
Yep.
That was so awesome, Rachel. Thank you so much for doing this.
Yeah, absolutely. And if you guys want to follow on my Instagram, Michelle can put that in the email when she sends it out to everybody. And you can look at how I structure the posts, because I know we didn't actually go and do a copywriting of any of these examples, but I don't care if you go and look at all my copywriting and see how I structure things. And I always have a call to action as well, right? Because well, I shouldn't say that. Sometimes I do post a lot of information. But then most of my posts are like, if you want to see things, change or whatever, if you want this transformation, then DM me ready now. And I would love to send more details over to you. And that's where I drive people into a conversation, because the conversation is where we can get intimate. I can talk to you before I even utter the word Plexus. I've gotten familiar with what your 3 areas in your life are that you would like to see resolution in, revitalization in, or a resolution of symptoms. And that's what I have people line out straight out of the bat. I'm like, thanks so much for reaching out. I would love to learn more about where you're at right now. Could you line out the top 3 things that you would love to see transformation in as far as these 3 things go? And then I voice note them, because voice noting is so powerful. It's not, people don't feel like it's an auto generated robot talking to them.
Yeah.
They're getting to connect with me. And I have so many people that are just like, I can't believe you personally connected with me. And then I start chatting about that and I start relating to it. I'm like, oh my gosh, I had chronic stress too, and my hair fell out and I was balding and all these things. And so then we start chatting about this, And then we get to a point where I finally say, I would love to share with you the regimen that was super simple, that, I implemented in my life. And would you like to know more about that? And then they're like, yeah, absolutely. And then you go into, so if you kind of spend the time to get your pitch down and how you connect with people, it just takes a lot of the exhaustion out of selling because it's just second nature to you. And Michelle knows this from me having to pivot from my other that's like on autopilot, my content and my talking in that realm. I know exactly where to go with people in the DMs with my other realm, but it was so clunky for me to talk about this. At first I was like, Michelle, Elise, help me. Like, what do I say to this person? Like, I felt so paralyzed. And it took me back to like the beginning of, oh my goodness, there's so much growth here. But really it is the same template, just apply it to a different area of content and value the relationship, value the person you're talking to and see how you can relate to them. And then, go from the conversation to the pitch of, I'd like to share this with you. And I always tell people this could look overwhelming to you. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed. It's very simple. It's a drink in the morning, it's some supplements, and it's another drink at night. We can talk about any ways that would support your budget and where you want to be right now to meet those health goals so that they're not like, oh my gosh, this is so much money. I already see dollar signs or whatever. We can work with any budget and prioritize anything that you want to see a transformation in right now. And then I let them sit with that for a little bit. And then I do follow-ups and I'm like, hey, did you have a chance to watch that video I sent you on cancer or whatever it is? Did you have any questions I could answer? And then, usually it draws them back into the conversation or they reach back out. But you always just want to personally follow up with people. You're not bothering them. I used to feel like I was bothering people, but there's so many people who are like, thank you. Thanks for circling back.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm getting better. I literally, when I first started, I would sit in the car and on our way to do errands, I would re-record over and over again my voice message. And then my husband would go, that one sounds really good. And I'd send it before I could change my mind.
Yeah. The other thing is you can actually, I don't know if you're doing it on Instagram, but Instagram has a way that you can, it's not for voice noting, but you can literally, it will auto populate your most popular, you can save them, your most popular comments. So like for me, I'm always, the first thing I typically say to people is, hi there, thanks so much for reaching out. What's your biggest obstacle in your legal process? And that is my first thing I chat with them about. So you could say, what's your biggest obstacle in your health? And so you already have that. You're not even having to think. And you're just like, hey there.
Okay.
This is my greeting and this is my entry into my conversation. And I have about 10 to 12 of my most common comments to people in there so that I can manage all these DM conversations all the time.
That would be so helpful.
Yeah. Yeah.
Michelle, that's another training in another week.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yep. That is, yeah.
So good.
Oh. Thank you so much, Rachel.
You're awesome.
Super appreciate you.
Yeah. Glad it was helpful.
I'm looking forward to filling out the thing because I'm like, okay, what's on my heart? Holy Spirit, tell me. And then I write it. So this is like, will push me to a whole nother level of like organization.
Well, and it's like, you do it once and you can transform it so much because that's my thing.
Totally.
It's like sitting there, not having a template in place. And I'm like, well, what do I want to talk about? Documentation. I could do, for our other realm, Elise, like I talk about the ways to document or why you need to document for like 50 million different posts. And I already thought about it one time instead of thinking about it every time and reinventing the wheel every time.
Yeah. Well, and that takes down like that exhaustion level too, because you're not having to think about stuff.
Yeah, it's
just
efficient.
There. Yeah.
Yep.
Think smarter, not harder.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, thanks, guys.
All right.
All right.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Bye.